Don't forget to check me out over on Instagram at GeekdomBigD, where I post not just Dragon Ball stuff, but a lot more than that. And I think you'll have a good time on that page. Instagram.com/GeekdomBigD. Chapter 56 of Dragon Ball Super the manga might actually wind up being my favorite manga chapter so far in all of Dragon Ball Super. This thing felt epic, it felt grandiose, it felt like I was watching an MCU movie, and was probably the most action-packed and most well-drawn as far as the action sequences go. I wouldn't say it's the best ever for Toyotaro, but I would say it's definitely in the top 5. The chapter begins with Jocko in space, and this actually winds up being a bigger deal than just Jocko in space because he's not alone. The entire Galactic Patrol is on its way to Earth to protect it from Moro. This scene right here, just this scene alone, brings back memories of that awesome scene in Return of the Jedi where the Rebel Alliance went to attack the second Death Star, and you had that awesome music playing and all the wings were checking in. Like, you know, that song, like, that's what this felt like. So when I said the entire Galactic Patrol, I didn't mean every single member. I didn't actually mean entire, but a surplus of ships are headed towards Earth. The war against Moro has begun, and it's not just the Galactic Patrol that's fighting this battle, it's the entirety of the original Z fighters from the early days of Dragon Ball Z. Obviously no Goten and Trunks. Well, maybe not so obviously. Why aren't they there? Are they protecting 17's island again? The manga doesn't really say, but seeing Yamcha and Chaozu there is quite amazing because this is pretty much supposed to be, I guess, a bigger and more grandiose replica of the Resurrection F battle, except that in that battle there was no Yamcha or Chaozu, but they are both here along with the traditional players that we've known to grow and love. Now, as Moro's forces arrive, they have this weird sort of set of pages that were, I guess, just there for comic relief, where one of the ships ends up in this sort of Persian-looking area, like a Persian sector of this mysterious, you know, fictional world, and we see Moro's forces come out of it, but this is just played up to introduce us and tell us that Moro's forces are here. Piccolo and Gohan can sense it. The idea behind this was to tell us that Moro's forces are going to try to rob other parts of the world, like treasures and whatnot, before the actual fight begins. So they're going to have to pretty much figure out what's going to happen here and have to split up and go to different parts of the world to solve this. So it's going to be not like Resurrection F, where you have like a big rumble going on in one spot. There's going to be several battles taking place all over the world. This is huge for Dragon Ball, something that we've been waiting for a very long time. And like I said, this reminds me of Avengers, like the New York incident, the Sokovian incident. Like, it all kind of reminds you of these big comic book epic battles, but we haven't seen one in Dragon Ball in a while, where like it's actually taking place on Earth and not some mysterious dimension. You know what I mean? We're seeing it here, and it's refreshing. It feels good. It feels different enough to where it feels new, and it's hard to do new stuff with Dragon Ball with these same characters, but Toyotaro is kind of figuring it out. And so everybody splits into teams and goes, and we have what I guess you can consider a montage of events here in this part of the manga chapter. Like, the majority of it is this, where there's several battles going on all over the world. You know, you've got Krillin, you know, having his own fight. Master Roshi's there with him. And then they have to go against some criminals. Also, the Galactic Patrol is going to be with the Z fighters at different parts of battle to assist them when necessary. So that's a cool thing that we did not get before. Again, this is stuff that we've seen in comic book movies, but in Dragon Ball, we've seen similar, but never quite like this. And I like it. So we go from Krillin's bizarre adventure to what's going on with Gohan and Piccolo, and the android 7-3, while they're, I guess, being distracted by sensing the other battles, comes up from behind them and grabs them, and does what he does best, which is be able to take their power and copy their techniques. So with Piccolo's technique, 7-3 fires a Makankosa pole, otherwise known as a special beam cannon, and Gohan, introducing a new technique we have not seen before, creates a shield to block and spin that move out. This was really good stuff. Then Piccolo does his version, which is translated as Demon Light of Death, which is the literal translation from Makanko Sapo. Special Beam Cannon is a name that the old Ocean dub came up with that we kept pretty much for a long time in the English dub world. But it is actually supposed to be the demon light of death. Well, anyways, they have this like beam clash with the Makanko Sapos, and they're both trying to like go through and break the shield. And that, of course, shows us some of the other stuff going on around the world. But the main result is that 7-3 loses a limb. So 7-3 has lost his arm. And even if he has infinite stamina, Piccolo doesn't think he can recover right away. But then, boom, he just recovers right away. He can heal himself extremely fast. This dude is very dangerous. I mean, he's kind of like a new, like, super advanced version of Cell. That's the vibe that I'm getting from him, and it really feels like that's what they're going for here. And then we have some of this amazing art here, some really incredible art. 7-3 fires off a bunch of ki blasts, and we have Gohan and Piccolo spinning in the air, bouncing through them, firing their own back. I mean, this is just complete pandemonium, just complete beauty. This is like action done right. I gotta give Toyotaro so much credit for this, man, that he's improving as an artist to where he can draw action scenes better now than he could last year or the year before. I mean, he's just getting better and better at this. And Gohan manages to actually, you know, get through all of it and punch him right in the face and knock the crap out of him. So we find out that 7-3 cannot use multiple powers at once, and because of that, combo moves will work on him, which I really love that. But then we have this awesome scene where after Gohan knocks him into the water, he rises up out of the freaking water like a Terminator, yo. Like, this was beautifully shot. And then we cut to Yamcha. The big story is Yamcha, his redemption. Yamcha is being used. Yamcha is being cool. He even calls himself one of the strongest Earthlings around. So cocky Yamcha's in effect, and he proves it here as he pulverizes these galactic criminals, yo. This is the kind of stuff, again, you don't have to have Yamcha kill a main villain or anything like that, but having him just be a badass, I think goes a long way. And I think people have been wanting to see this based on my comment section in the last video I did, that I think the excitement is there for a Yamcha revival in the future. They got money in Yamcha, you know what I'm saying? Talk about Toei and Shueisha. So in discovering the weakness of 7-3, Gohan and Piccolo do combo moves, and we have a combo Makanko Sapo Masenko combination. I already said combo combination. That is indeed redundant, but whatever. Anyways, just seeing them do this together is cool. They're trying to hit 7-3 with everything they've got, and they do manage to knock him on his ass. But he is still alive. So he gets convinced by the other villains or criminals or whatever to use Moro's ability to drain Gohan and Piccolo's energy. And just as they're about to do it, like it's this scene where he's going for it, all of a sudden we have the appearance of 17 and 18. So now we've got this machine-on-machine violence, but because the artificial humans 17 and 18 are indeed human originally, I guess a little bit different. So to all the people who were asking about 17 and 18 being out there and how that could end up being a problem because Moro could suck out their energy if they have infinite energy, Piccolo in this manga chapter says, since you androids don't have chi. So what that basically means is that they don't use traditional energy like spiritual energy. That's what that pretty much means. It means that the energy that Android 17 and 18 use is an artificial energy, one that was probably created or gifted to them by their creator, or at least not by their human creator, obviously by Dr. Garo, Dr. Gero. He obviously gave them some kind of artificial ki. They don't have traditional ki. I'm going to do a whole video about this at some point in the future, but now we know that Moro cannot suck out their energy. I also like the little wink wink that 17 says when he says that he's not a fan of ganging up on enemies, even though the future version of himself definitely did nothing but that with 18. But we already know that due to the butterfly effect, 17 and 18's present selves are different. So the battle with 7-3 is indeed not over, and now we're going to have 17 and 18 against 7-3. Someone in the comment section add up those numbers to see if it means anything. See what number we get. Maybe it's some kind of secret code that Toyotaro's telling us. Probably not. So anyways, the manga chapter ends with Moro pretty much giving up on his own soldiers, telling the audience and teasing us that he's about to enter the battle. And I like how the end of the manga chapter sort of goes with the three main leads, Goku, Vegeta, and of course Moro, because they cut from Moro to Vegeta, who wants to get ready to fight. He can feel the fighting going on Earth, but he is urged by the Yard Rats not to go yet until he masters this spirit control technique. And then at the end, we have the funny little panel where Goku is apparently stuck on another planet because the people driving him got lost. Why can't he just teleport there? I hope they have an answer for us, because he should be able to sense the energy of them fighting now and teleport over like he did in Resurrection F. So we'll see what happens in the next chapter. But right now, this chapter was freaking awesome. You know, now that I did the review looking back, it's probably not my favorite manga chapter of the entire run of Dragon Ball Super, but it's easily in my top 5 so far. It's fantastic, fun to read, exciting, just everything you could ever want from Dragon Ball Super. If finally Toyotaro's listening to the fans and doing stuff that we kind of all wanted. He is a fan himself, so of course he would know. That's it. Read the chapter. It's freaking awesome. Leave a like for me, please. It would help me out a lot. Check out some of these videos as well.